On 11 September, we flew out of Oliver Tambo. We're on our way to Prague, which is in the Czech Republic. So we touched down the next day at around 8:30. The women in this town are beautiful. Miroslav, the local representative from Skyleader, was there to pick us up, and he drove us to Jihlava, where the plane was waiting.
Go inside and tell them about it. Thank you. Yes, and then proceed.
After a quiet lunch in the local town of Jihlava, we drove out to the airfield and brought in the Skyleader test pilot, opened the hangars, and there stood the most beautiful plane I'd ever seen in my whole life. After about half an hour of Bradin going through the aircraft with me, we took her up for a test flight. I was excited to have the first flight in this beautiful plane, and we took her up for our first flip together.
So we don't have masters on, mains on, push our covers there, put the timer down, so on that we've got plenty fuel. Thank you, 110 litres. This is the place all looking good. Tank Alpha Mike, we're taxiing for Hollywood runway 28.
We used this time to fly the plane to Brno in order to buy a backup GPS, which I'd forgotten. This gave me the opportunity to feel her characteristics.
We got information that Tank Alpha Mike, good morning. Good morning, we're airborne from Jihlava for flight to Czech, just departed from Jihlava. Good morning. We're from Tank Alpha Mike, high formation, Roger, good morning, time of departure please.
Compared to my current plane, she flew a lot faster and she had a lower stall speed, except she was pulling to the left, which I wanted to ignore but needed to sort it out. When we landed, I said, "Dennis, come up for a flip with me, she's pulling to the left." Dennis climbed in and we took off, and sure enough, Dennis felt the same. We then landed and Dennis jumped out of the plane and fiddled with the tab. Sure enough, she was perfect.
Miroslav, let's have a look at this new Rotax engine, the 2000 R1.
Just keep an eye on this guy trying to start his plane.
This is a 914 turbo engine, so producing 115 horsepower.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh look, he won't give up.
They feed the oil to the center bearing of the turbo. That's why you have to shut down. You've got to spend a minute or a minute and a half.
Oh look, there he goes again. This guy's determined.
You don't even have to take off the bottom cowl to remove the plugs.
That's true.
So this cowl will hardly ever come off because you know from putting cowls on and off there, you get wear and all sorts of things.
This process continued for a couple of hours whilst we were busy familiarising ourselves with the plane and the new Rotax 914. Oh look, he won't give up.
Yes, I tell you, for an old man, he slung that proper lot. I couldn't do that. The people in Czech must be very strong.
Look, that's quite entertaining. Just no stopping for that old fart.
Yes.
Wow, eventually it paid off. Yay! Look at that.
Yay!
What you're supposed to do with those wee johns is you're supposed to rig them before you go in your pants. But imagine that sticky thing on your dick all the time.
No, you can rig it inside, in flight. Why did you unfucking pack it?
Because you have to, because there's 3 in one of those. Okay, fine, but you can only inflate it once it's open.
So first thing you've got to do is get your speed right. Field, there's plenty of fields in the sea. Fuel.
Everything was in that little thing with the...
I don't think it's lost. I think it's inside the plane because yesterday we put it there.
Check that
okay,
I go for it.
see if you can find it. The 19, and then there was a small puncture repair kit. What spanners, I just want to see what spanners we need to strip the larger wheel, the main gear wheel. Yeah, look, it's very necessary to take these wheels. There's a small one, we're going to have to find a place for them. For the sea trip, that bag has to be easily accessible. In fact, at that stage, we can just put it lying on the top. So for the moment, should we see if this fits behind the seat here?
Yeah, it will.
Then we can put your bag in there, which is bigger than mine, and my bag there. Okay, and then put the bag on top of it.
Well.
No, put the, okay. Just stick it on top there. What does it matter?
Yeah.
That's it. It's perfect. Okay, so that's very good. We're getting most of the stuff in quite easily. If this fits both of our bags.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, you're just assuming. Yeah, that's got some nice little sockets, like for the nose wheel if you need to do it.
That it all pop. And that we're going to put over now.
Oh, you're going to put it over tonight? Okay. Sorry.
The cover can fit anywhere.
That's it. We'll do the final packing tomorrow. It's just to see that everything is going to more or less fit.
We headed off to the Skyleader factory and sat in their boardroom with Radim, the Skyleader designer, and Miroslav. Dennis was keen to run through the new specifications and also to check out the fuel system which he'd designed to accommodate the ferry tanks which we needed for the 1,300 kilometre crossings which we would be doing.
I suggest to discuss the fuel tanks installation.
You guys are fitting a fuel selector.
Radim will go with us and he will do the installation.
Okay.
Why we suggested the fuel selector is only with the T-piece.
Yes.
It will be not working.
We will bypass that because I agree with him 100%, because the T-piece, it will work. With the selector, we can always have one 20-litre tank as an emergency. Are you using the same type of fuel filter as in the 200 and the 150?
We use the standard filters. If that request will come sooner, maybe we will be able to change that. We have installed an additional fuel filter.
That's good.
There are no other questions from our side.
Is the fuel filter exposed or is it underneath the floor?
It's under the seat. It's not visible, but you can check it under the seat.
Okay, I think that's fine for the fuel system.
Thank you.
Yeah, when I opened my case and there were a couple of stockings in there, I thought, gee, I hope they're not going to check my luggage.
Borrow them off Mary, we'll give them back.
Že si sebou vzal nějaký Would like to talk about the fuel ventilation.
Yes, I actually was going to bring that up. Because the tank can take a lot of pressure. It's well connected and everything. No, that's what I say. That's why his idea of a fuel selector is spot on. Then also I think what we might do is when we use the jerry cans, we won't fill them right to the top. And before we fly, we will open the caps to ventilate them. Just the...
kolik si účtuješ za takovýhle vymysly?
I don't think he likes us carrying extra fuel in there, but it's unavoidable. We only will use it where we have very long legs, like in Sudan, and we understand it and we know it works, and we're too scared to run the turbo motor on MoGas in Africa. Mm-hmm.
My name is Miroslav Bobila. I'm the sales manager of the Skyleader aircraft company. Welcome at Jihlava airfield. We are here because Mr. Dennis Southby and Mr. Howard Betts arrived to pick up their brand new Skyleader 600. And they're going to fly the plane back to Johannesburg in South Africa, which is quite exciting for us. They're leaving on Thursday, which is 15th of September 2011 at 8 o'clock a.m. So we're looking forward to see them going. So our factory is positioned in Jihlava, about 10 kilometers out of this field. We are quite unique in that production locally. We are in a district called Highlands, and there is no other manufacturer of the light support aircraft at the moment. What is quite interesting is to say that the original idea of our aircraft was to resize the general aviation-sized aircraft and to build it in the ultralight or light sport aircraft size, and to be able to operate it with very low costs. What we have done is that we kept all the benefits of large aircrafts and we just resize it into the smaller category. So in dimension speaking, with all the comparison which might be available in the world, our airplane is one of the largest. The length is 7.2 meters and the wingspan is 9.9 meters, which makes it 1 meter longer and 1.5 meter wider than the other planes. What's also very interesting is that we use the trapezoidal wings, which are generating more lift and adding the speed. Also, those wings are equipped with a huge and unique Fowler flap system, which makes the surface of the wing much bigger and again generates more lift.
What's our manifold pressure there? Manifold pressure 32.5. Then I just needed to know what your airbox temperature is.
Okay, with most of our preparation now complete, we planned to leave the next morning, which would be Thursday, 15 September 2011, for our 11,000 kilometer journey home to South Africa.
What do you got to work out the... that's a good question.
Is this VFR?
You do.
Okay. Yeah, it's about 1 hour, 6 minutes. No problem being half an hour.
Survival equipment. 8-2.
And there was no problem, so.
Good. She obviously knew I was bullshitting when I told her the fucking airport.
Here's your chair, Dennis.
I could have brought more. Is there nothing else we can put in?
Yeah, there's a block. You want the block? Do you want to bring the big one? A good one, eh?
Cool.
What's that?
Well, I hope we're not back in half an hour. If we come back down, it's because we've got to be in the cockpit. Yeah. Fueled, packed, and ready to leave. We said our goodbyes to Miroslav, Radim, and the rest of the Skyleader team, and we're off. The ATC came over at one stage and told us we were entering restricted space, and for two private pilots like Dennis and myself, this was quite intimidating.
Okay, we are in the Jihlava area. Takeoff mic, taking off for flight to Czech. Takeoff mic on this heading. You are proceeding to Austria. You have to cross boundary of Slovakia according to flight plan. Zulu Uniform Tango Alpha Mike from present position proceed direct to Epic. Zulu Uniform Tango Alpha Mike, contact Jihlava information 124, decimal 3. Good day. I have radar contact. Continue via flight plan route and maintain 3500 on QNH 1020. Thanks. And the carrier. It's picked up that power in the car. Fuel we got. Fuel. Flaps are here. 010 degrees. Coordinate. After departure, climb on left hand traffic circuit for runway 34 and initially after. Tango Papa Lima, climb flight level 140 again, 45. 26 meters to that point, you don't have it on our GPS though, right? But we're using in that direction. Do you need to check out the mic? Zulu Uniform Tango Alpha Mike, from your present position, left track to Jago 120 and distance 529.
Macedonia Airport, Thessaloniki. Not a bad place. The next morning we were to fly from Thessaloniki to Heraklion on Crete. This was past some beautiful Mediterranean scenery, and the ATC were amazing as we were only a couple of sport pilots with no commercial experience at all.
Heading 110, continue descend to 3000 feet and level 5 shortly for visual default.
Cinematic call left heading 110 descending 3000 feet.
Zulu Tango Alpha Mike, request time to Heraklion and your cruising altitude. 118.05, thank you very much. Okay, sir, traffic profile here, thank you for your patience.
Zulu Uniform Tango Alpha Mike, go ahead.
Cruising altitude is 3000 feet and time to Heraklion is 2 hours 39 minutes. Uniform Tango Alpha Mike.
On 18 September we prepared ourselves for the Mediterranean crossing. This needed us to kit ourselves with life jackets, sufficient water if we had to put down, flares and sat-nav. Our taxi clearances and takeoff was easy enough in Heraklion, and soon enough we were airborne for Egypt.
Next call, final runway 20.
This 4.5-hour crossing was quite challenging as 2 hours into the flight we lost the horizon and were reliant totally on our GPS and autopilot.
Tango Alpha Mike, can you make a left turn, not right turn? Make a left turn now.
In order to clear, we needed to land at Alu Aba Asidawa Airport. After takeoff, we were instructed to fly the Egyptian Airways, which we hadn't planned for, and we obviously didn't have enough fuel to do this. So we carried out an emergency landing at Alexandria. Upon landing, we were confronted by army officials and local airport security who kept us on the ground for 2 days in order to obtain clearance from the army to take off. If you ever consider flying across Egypt, maybe you should think of taking extra fuel because you might be required to fly the airways, extending your trip by possibly double. This was quite a nervy leg as we needed to fly over some very unfriendly desert and an emergency landing would be impossible. As we approached Luxor and crossed the Nile River, the scenery improved dramatically and everything was green. It was at this point that Dennis said we need to add to our ferry tanks with another 20 litres as the next 2 legs were going to be 700 nautical miles, possibly 7 hours each. The next day we set off for Khartoum. We landed in Khartoum where the temperature was 50 degrees Celsius and couldn't wait to get out of there. The next day we had arranged for 200 litres of fuel and we only needed 100 litres at a cost of $5.50. We left the remaining fuel on the ground for the thieves to help themselves. And after refueling, took off for Lokichokio, which lies north of Kenya. We flew through Sudan and past Ethiopia to the west into Kenya. This was a 7-hour leg. We're in Lokichoki. The guy that owns this Cessna has fuel and he's going to sell us a 200 litre drum and we got to buy it all. Not as if he could like keep half. Loki Lodge. We'll take Lodge driving past that one. This is the beer of Kenya. It's a very nice beer, Tusker. After a good night's rest in Lokichokio, we were on our way to Nairobi. This took us through the Rift Valley and to the west of Mount Kenya and on to Nairobi. Arrived at Nairobi Wilson Airport. A good night's rest at the Norfolk Hotel in Nairobi. We were on our way to Zanzibar Island, which lies east of Tanzania. This flight took us over the Great Tsavo National Park and then east of Mount Kilimanjaro and then a small part of the Indian Ocean onto Zanzibar International Airport. It is Sunday morning, 20 to 10. The next leg, to Pemba, which lies at the northern point of Mozambique, took us along the east coast of Africa and some beautiful Indian Ocean scenery below us.
Okay guys, for the relay, tackle off the mic. Okay, we just have on runway 23 over left and turn on, maintaining 1,500 at this timing route to Mafia. Scope 1221, ETA Mafia will be at 0821. Confirm that you are routing via Castro or via Jihlava? We're routing via Mike Pedro Alpha and then direct for Zanzibar. And after Mike.
After a 4.5-hour flight, we stopped over at Pemba to refuel, and the next day we were on to Kilimani.
Howard, you have a text message.
We've hitched a lift with 2 ladies into town because there's no taxis here. Gonna get something to eat. Just as we were cleared for takeoff, we realized that the nosy was stiff. This ended up being a flat tire.
Okay, spare wheel.
Spare wheel.
Thank goodness Dennis had insisted on bringing spares, so that within 10 minutes we were airborne.
But it's the first time I'm using this camera and playing on here.
The leg to Beira was less than 2 hours, but 15 minutes into the flight we realized that the starboard fuel cap was loose, and if we had encountered any turbulence we would have probably lost it. The wind was wedging it in position. The flight to Indigo Bay, which lies 7 nautical miles northeast of Velinculos in Mozambique, was about 1.5 hours.
At Indigo Bay at 0800, like Alpha Mike. Mozambique 1 on Pula, Roger 1 ready, start up, please. News 05, windy 13006, Quebec, November, Hotel 1020, temperature 30, viewpoint 13.
Coming on, that takes you from the airport to Indigo Bay Hotel. I'm sitting in a golf cart, he's following us. On landing at the airfield, we were welcomed by the local staff, who met us with juices and cold towels to wipe the sweat off our faces. I could see that Dennis was pining for his wife, so I arranged for Mary to fly in by a helicopter and join us for a holiday at Indigo Bay.
From Dallas on my contact tower 181. 181.
On 1st October, we took off from Indigo Bay to Velinculos. We would be able to clear customs for our flight back to SA. The weather forecast for this route was borderline for 2 private pilots with no instrument rating. We climbed above the clouds, maintaining ground visibility for this 3.5-hour flight to Joburg. After refueling and a quick bite at Kruger, we took off for our final leg back to Teddyfield Air Park in Johannesburg. En route to Teddyfield, my cousin met us in his pit special. This made for a grand entry, and I needed to do a flyby in this new aircraft, as there were some 80 people waiting for us with a barbecue and ice-cold beer. It was great to be home, but I can't wait to do this again in Skyleader's new 700 series.
How's it?